Alright guys, so before I start today's video, I want to wish every single one of you guys a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I want to say that the channel growth this year has been amazing. We've come so far, we've done so much, and I wouldn't want to change it for anything. I know that looking at the stats on my end, I didn't put out as many videos this year as I did back in 2018 when really everything started to take off. But all of that is going to change, and reason being, I also want to thank my editor, Cam. He is basically making this happen. I don't necessarily have the time to film, work on these trucks, do my jobs, and edit the videos. He takes care of all the editing and everything like that for me so I can keep doing stuff to the trucks, keep on working the Duramax and the Cateye and stuff like that. So big shout out to him, and also shout out to my buddy Austin, who a lot of you guys seem to have elected to be the mechanic for the channel, and that's fine. I'm sure he doesn't necessarily mind being told that, but you guys saw him back when we went to Florida for the Cleats and Cars event. You see him in here in the shop helping me out. Him and I are in the shop together down here, so you see a lot of him, and I'm really appreciative of how much he helped me out this year, especially getting ready for Cleats and Cars and everything like that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started on the video. I just wanted to thank you all again for all of your support, and I hope to keep the channel going, and hopefully the sport will continue into 2020. Alrighty guys, so as tradition would have it, I always do a Q&A for the Christmas video. I put up on the community page of YouTube if you wanted to ask a question. So I've got all the questions here, as well as over on Instagram. People ask questions to do in today's video. So I'm going to start right from the top. Whatever happened to the single cab 6.0, the GMC? I actually sold it, and reason being is I was given a ridiculous offer for it. And by ridiculous, I mean 4 times what I paid for it. So when somebody walked up to me with that offer, I took it, and it's gone, and I don't miss it per se. I mean, it would have been a fun build, but I couldn't turn down the offer I had on it. Question says, do I like cars at all, or will I always be a truck guy? Oh no, I love cars. I have a lot of respect for everything. Every car, every truck. You know, yes, I'm mainly a Chevy guy, but I have no hate for Ram or Ford, Toyota, Honda, Subaru. I mean, you name it, I like them. Now, hopefully, maybe in 2020, 2021, we get a car on the channel, but it would be a Camaro because I am a Chevy guy. But I'm not just a truck guy. I do love cars. I just happen to have the 2 trucks because I do like trucks. All right, this guy says, what power mods are you doing to the Cateye? I'm kind of confused by the question because, I mean, if you're swapping a whole motor from a 5.3 to the 6.0, it's a power mod all by itself. But I've went over it into videos. Basically, we're doing the flat tops, cam heads. We're doing the bigger intake, the whole 9 yards for the motor. We're actually doing piston. We're doing the bottom end this time, unlike we did on the 5.3. The next modifications for the Duramax. The Duramax is expensive to modify, and I am going to modify it. We're going to do wheels and tires, so it needs wheels and tires. So a nice setup. High flow bundle kit from Rolly Fab, and probably the Stealth 67 Turbo. It is my daily driver, and it is going to tow everything around with the gooseneck that we need to, so I can't really go too crazy with it. It's pretty quick. If you guys haven't seen the video, it runs really good. It'll be even faster once we do a little bit more to it. But I'm not going to go too crazy with the Duramax, like I said, because it's my daily driver and stuff like that. But it's plenty quick. I mean, it'll outrun the Cateye all day long, or I don't know if it will once we get the 6.0, but it did back with the 5.3. All right, Evan asked, why didn't you do a 6.0 before? Reason being, I got a really good deal on the 5.3 that was originally in there. Like really good deal. It was super cheap, and if I would have done a 6.0 from the get-go, it would have been a lot more expensive and a lot more money than I'd spent originally on the 5.3. The reason that the 6.0 is so easy now and so affordable is I've bought all these pieces that I bought for the 5.3 that transfer over, plus I got a good deal on that 6.0 anyway. So I don't regret starting with a 5.3. If you've got the money, you want to do a 6.0, go for the 6.0. But all that matters is we're doing a 6.0 now. And we got to blow a 5.3 up, so that's always fun. Daniel asked, do you always keep your headers glowing red? Nope, only at Cleats and Cars. What kind of horsepower am I trying to get out of the 6.0? I'd like to see 400 wheel horsepower out of it. Mark asked, how do you make money besides YouTube? I've got 2 other jobs. I've got a full-time job that I work regular Monday through Friday at, and I've got a weekend job that kind of has to do with what I do during the week, but it's just a side job, and that kind of why it makes it hard for me to make videos here on YouTube, because I have so many jobs and YouTube is just one more job. Isaiah asked, what's the fastest I've ever went in the Cateye? The Cateye has been 153 on the dyno when we did the dyno testing the last time. I have personally drove it at about 130. I've pegged it past 120 after it was built on stock tires, and it was still pulling, and I held it there for a good little while. So my guess is I've had it about 130, and that's about all it's got. Marvin asked, what about the mirrors? I don't know, what do you mean? What about the mirrors? Boost auto mirrors, best mirrors you can buy for these trucks. Luke asked, if I had the money, what would be my absolute dream build? I would love to get a new body style Denali, Duramax, Denali HD, crew cab, standard box, probably an LML. I may do an L5P, it would just depend on at the time what kind of parts I could buy for it. Nothing too crazy on lift, maybe like 4 to 6 inches of lift, 35s, 14 wides, fully built, twin turbo, I mean the whole 9 yards, you name it. But I think the newer body style, not the brand new, but the one previous, like the 14 and up Denali HD, is the best looking truck GM has ever made. If I could paint the Cateye any color, what would it be? Silver birch metallic, the color it already is. Dylan asked a good question, but it's also a loaded question, because it says, how much money do I have invested in the Cateye so far? You guys have got to think, I've had the Cateye for, let's see, 7 years, and I've changed parts throughout 7 years. There's no telling how much money I have into it. Between maintenance, switching over parts, and everything I've done to it, I wouldn't be surprised if you added it all up and it was probably like $20,000, and that doesn't include the price of the truck. This guy asked, why do tires make smoke when you do a burnout? That's a pretty good question. Tires have petroleum in them. In with the rubber, and when you heat them up, you're actually burning off the petroleum and all the chemicals and the rubber and stuff like that that's inside of the tire. So all of that heat and it burning is creating the smoke. Now, even though you're chewing up the tire and spinning it out, some of it is melting, and that's what's making all that smoke. This was a question I was a little bit confused about. Hunter said, will you ever get a Duramax? Well, I guess my guess is maybe he's missed a whole lot of videos or doesn't follow the Instagram. The Duramax has been here for quite a long time. Tad says, why didn't you get a 4-door Cateye? It's because that's what I got 7 years ago. It's just the truck I got, and really I didn't necessarily want the 4-door. I mean, I just got what I got. It was what I could get at the time, and I'm not sure that I regret having an extend cab. I kind of like the way it looks. I mean, obviously the Duramax I bought is a crew cab. I think crew cabs are great, but you're talking like 7 years ago. I was 16 years old. I mean, you kind of go with what you can get. Cameron asked, did a 6.2 ever cross my mind before buying the 6.0? You have to think, the 6.2 will not swap right into the Cateye. That's a newer motor, and it's a lot different. You'd have to swap over the computers and everything like that. So it's not a direct swap. So no, a 6.2 did not cross my mind, just because it's not necessarily an easy swap from a 5.3 to a 6.2. It's much easier to do a 6.0, and really, it would still be even easier if you just punched out a 6.0 to equal a 6.2. Mitch said, if I'm ever going to see a Camaro on the channel, he said a 4th gen Camaro. Definitely not a 4th gen. You might see a 5th or a 6th gen. More than likely a 6th gen Camaro within the next year or two. Not a 4th gen, though. This guy said, why I'm always going small when I can add boost and have a really fast truck? Because I'm not building a fast truck. The truck behind me is actually a pretty fast truck, and it's boosted. But the Cateye, it has really turned into a truck that I build for me and for this channel. I build it to entertain myself, and it is really the show vehicle. I enjoy driving it on the weekends, only when it's nice weather, taking it to shows and stuff like that. And really what I'm after is I want the nice, attention-grabbing, good-sounding, running, reliable truck. And once you start doing something silly like that, you start losing the reliability of it. And the Cateye is in no way, shape, or form ever going to be a fast truck. It's a lifted truck on 35s and 12 wides. I mean, it's not, I never built it to be a fast truck. I would like it to run good. I'm not saying I want a slow truck, but it's definitely not a race truck. Travis asked if I pinched a hole in the driver's seat when the rods let go. No, actually, all I could do was think about getting out of the truck and jumping on the hood and screaming and yelling and celebrating, because it was one of the greatest things I'd ever done in my life down at Cleus and Cars, was blowing that engine up. It was one of the coolest things I've ever seen, one of the coolest things I've ever done, and I'll tell you, I was so exhausted. Austin and I both were. We'd worked the whole day. We pushed the Cateye all the way up into the burnout box. I couldn't even sleep when we got back to the hotel that night because I was still so excited from what had happened. There is no regrets at all for what happened to Cletus and Cars. That was one of the greatest things I've ever done, hands down. You're never going to hear me say anything else about it. All right, so all these questions came from Instagram. Those last ones all come from YouTube. But first question is, what's your most memorable moments that you had creating the channel? I pretty much just answered it on the last section. It's definitely the Cletus and Cars event. This guy asked, how do you fit the LEDs in the Cateye? They push against the light bracket. All right, so you actually have to trim that out. I may have put it in a video, it would have been forever ago, it would have been like a year or two ago, but you actually trim the plastic so the LED will go up in there, the whole housing is set right. So you pretty much have to test it, trim it, test it, you know, go back and forth till you get it just right so it'll slide up in there, but you have to trim that plastic bracket. This guy asked, what do I wish I would have done differently on the Cateye? Maybe it gone with like a BDS lift and maybe not a rough country lift. And not that rough country is terrible, but I kind of wish I would have spent more money and bought a better lift in all honesty. All right, so this question is getting really, really complicated because of how much it's changed, and I'm not sure at what point the people are asking what it is. And this question is, who did the exhaust and how much did you pay? So the problem with this question is the Cateye exhaust has changed probably 3 or 4 times since the original video, which is a big video and a lot of people saw it. It originally started on a stock engine with stock headers, stock cats, and it was just true duals, X-pipe, no mufflers. A lot of people are talking about that system, but you got to think. Then we built a motor. It was a Cam 5.3 with headers, high flow cats, and it started out with no mufflers. Then we ended up putting a 40 on it because it was too loud, a Flowmaster 40. Then I put 2 Venom, Black Widow Venom 250s on it. So the exhaust system has changed several times, and I'm really confused. It's hard for me to answer the question because I have no idea at what point they're asking me what's done to the exhaust. But the original system on the stock motor, the duals with the stock cats, was $500. Perfection Muffler did it here in Roanoke, Virginia. That's probably the best answer I can give you. Let's see, Bryson asked, what inspired me to make YouTube videos? Unfortunately, it was probably Street Speed 717. I don't care for his channel anymore, but back in the day, he had a great channel, and I liked what he did. Guitarmageddon ZL1, I liked what he did. Nowadays, it's no secret that really my idol is Cletus McFarlane. I like guys like Dirty Max Jack. I still watch some Guitarmageddon ZL1, but those really are the guys that made me want to do YouTube. And Vehicle Virgins. Vehicle Virgins was definitely a good inspiration too, but it definitely inspired me to start making the videos. And plus I was building the truck anyway, so it just kind of made sense to film it and kind of document everything that I did. Sam asked why build the motor up in a heavy truck when you can do the same in a light vehicle, I guess is what he meant, and get more performance. Well, I'm not necessarily after performance. I'm really after a fun truck that I build for me. Like I answered it a little bit ago, the Cateye is not designed to go fast. I don't want it to go fast. I want it to sound good, I want it to run good, and I want it to look good. That's the whole thing. I want to hear the cam. I want that big motor thumping. When I get on it, I want to hear it. I want to feel it, the whole 9 yards. That's what the Cateye is all about. I build the Cateye for me. And that's what I tell when people ask me what they should do to their trucks. I tell you guys to build it to suit you and not to suit other people. You're the one driving the vehicle. You're the one that needs to be happy with it. It's your truck and your money. Build what you like. People are going to hate for whatever reason because they don't like it this way, or maybe it's a jealousy thing, or they think it's ugly. It doesn't matter because it's not their truck. It's what you like. And I just don't listen to what other people tell you. This guy asked, is there any update on the 2011, my dad's 2011? I guess I could make a video on it. It's still doing good. He actually still has it. For you guys that don't know, it's a 2011. It's tuned with a Diablo tuner, cold air intake, and that's really it. He's got some wheels on it. But it's been a great truck. He's had some issues out of it since the video. He did have to replace the transmission, but everything else has still been good with it. Nick asked how to start your own shop or garage. I'm not a good person to answer that because this shop isn't for money or anything else. It's just my personal and Austin's personal garage. We don't operate any type of business out of here. It's just our own personal stuff, and I do it for YouTube. This question is, when will the Cateye be done? I'd like for it to be done in February. I actually just talked to the machine shop, and they're taking the motor next week. So I'd like to think that we could have it all done, running, tuned, and everything by February. What gears are going to go in the Cateye? 456. I says, what was the one thing I didn't want to break in Florida? The two things I did not want to break in Florida was probably, I did not want to mess up the heads on the motor, and I did not want to grenade the rear end on the truck. Those are probably the two biggest things. Last question is, what are your recommendations for decent power on a 5.3? I'm going to answer this question in two different parts. So it really depends on your budget and depends on what you're going to do with the truck. You can stick with basic bolt-on stuff and gain a little bit of horsepower. You can tune it, exhaust, basic stuff like that. It'll gain you a little bit. But if you want power and you want to be faster, you're going to have to put a cam in it. So basically cam, exhaust. By exhaust, I mean pretty much everything. You need to put headers on it, duals, stuff like that. A good exhaust system. And if you're talking about like a Cateye, the Trailblazer SS intake manifold is definitely worth it for the money. I think if you were to take a regular LM7 or L33 5.3, put the Trailblazer SS intake manifold on it, a 90mm throttle body, maybe like a Stage 4 BTR cam, and headers, and had it tuned by somebody that knew what they were doing, I don't see any reason why you couldn't gain 100 crank horsepower, if not more, out of it, and just depending on what you decide to do with all your other mods and stuff like that. So if that's what you're after, then that's what you're going to have to do. If you're not into going full into depth with the motor, then stick with your basic handheld tuner, cold air intake, and stuff like that. So that about finishes up the Christmas Q&A. Hopefully, if you asked a question, I answered your question, and hopefully some of you guys maybe got some questions you didn't have answered here on the channel. Thank you again for all of your support this year. There'll be more videos coming out. Obviously, I'm doing pretty good with having 2 out a week. Stay tuned to the channel. Hit that subscribe button. Drop any comments you got down below, or follow me over on Instagram at Austin04_Z71. Take care. Have a great day.